Okay guys, a little video. I have a problem with the Case IH 5000. And that is when I get a plug in my conditioning rolls or the cross auger there, I have a heck of a time turning the head backwards. And I've thought about this and I've thought about it. And here is the solution that I've come up with. This is the top drive shaft that drives the head. And so what I am going to do is I am going to weld a nut on there and then be able to reverse the head with a wrench, very similar to how the Massey Combine works. So I went back into my parts pile and lo and behold, there is the coupler that joins the Massey Ferguson Combine in the head, and that part of the coupler is made for that wrench. And so I will cut the coupler apart and I will bore it out. There is about 1/8 of an inch difference in the bore there. I will bore it out and then split the nut and put it on that shaft and weld it, and I will have a way to reverse my head on the Swather. So the first step to this project is that coupler. I don't know if you have an, there it is. So that coupler is a taper lock with a keyway there. And so the first step of the process is to, there I'm showing you pretty good relief, is to round out that hole. So that take off the taper so it will grab that shaft. And so we are using the air nibbler and the steel is flying. Okay, so we've got that step completed, and this is where a caliper comes in very handy. So the shaft was actually 1.25 inches, and you want to check and make sure that your fit there is relatively snug. If you wallow that out too much, then when you split it and clamp it, it will be too small. It would be better for that hole to be tight or a hair too tight, so that when you put it on, you'll have a good place to weld and your nut will be the right length. Because after the fact, I can always come along and take down these edges if the square is a little bit too wide. Now before I split it, I put an index mark on one side, and that's to make sure the two halves go back together. You don't want to get into a reverse image of each other. If there's an irregularity, it won't, set right on the shaft. And by indexing one side, we'll know how to put the square back together on the shaft. So now we are at the tricky part. I have chamfered out all my cuts, but we have got to get that clamped on there straight. And since it's split and my grind was not perfect, it tries to walk around a little bit. So it took me a good minute to get that clamp on there straight. But I think we're square now. Real quick, double check with the caliper to make sure that we're on square, that we've got our 2-inch in both directions, and we are ready to start tack welding. So the tack welds are in place. And we checked it with the wrench. Be sure and check it with the wrench. And now we will start filling and making it pretty. And just like that, we have solved the problem. There is our wrench, and there is our head reversing. That is nice. One less frustration when you're swathing. Thanks for watching, guys.